Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and with me, as always, fresh off his second place finish in Bermuda, PGA Tour player Andrew Novak.
What's up, everyone back in the US? Had some big shakeups this week and ready to talk some football.
Yeah, I said practice your stingers last week. Guess they
Mm.
they worked out pretty well. You're back at
Little
home this
windy,
back at
little
home
windy.
this week in Sea Island playing the RSM.
Mm.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at screenplay_podcast. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you listen to podcasts. We have also partnered with Wager Games. They are giving our listeners a $100 deposit match on their first entry on the Sleeper app. Head over to our Instagram page, click the link promo code, get your $100 deposit match. I'm looking at it right now. I like the Chris Boswell more than 1.5 field goals on Thursday night. He's been nailing some field goals.
Okay, that's actually so funny. I almost put him on my start for our start sits. I almost put Chris Boswell in there.
You got it. I mean,
It's actually so funny you said
the
it.
Steelers don't score touchdowns, and Boswell is
Yeah,
doing his thing. No more
James will turn
undefeated.
him.
Yeah, no more undefeated teams. Joe Douglas
Mhm.
fired. Panthers make it 3 weeks in a row without a loss.
That's right.
The Cowboys are still a clown show. We'll get into all of it. Monday Night Football. Texans defeat the Cowboys 34-10. I had a bet last night, same game parlay. It was like Texans money line, Mixon, anytime touchdown, and Mixon 100+ rush yards. I sent it over to Taco, and I was like, I'm thinking about putting the most money of the year on this bet. Uh, I looked once the game started. I forgot to place it, so that's how it works. Um,
Mm.
thought I bet it. I didn't, but that's what happens. Texans 5-1 when Nico plays, 2-3 when Nico doesn't play. He's kind of pulling that AJ Brown card where the Eagles
Yeah,
are 7-0 with AJ Brown and 1-2 without him. So Nico,
yeah.
big part of this offense with the Texans is what it seems to be.
He opens up a lot. I mean, same thing with AJ Brown. Those guys stretch the field. You got to be conscious about them at all times. The Dallas run defense has been quite bad regardless, but when you have to leave an extra safety over the top to cover that, it gets even worse. So yeah, Mixon was running wild.
I posted a story to our Instagram story a couple hours ago.
Hmm.
Looking at a post that we made a while ago. We predicted this Cowboys downfall. Exactly. I mean, we
We did.
predicted the Cowboys going on this 5-game skid, starting from the Lions. Your prediction has them losing to the Commanders for their sixth straight L, completely falling apart. Pieces from the actual ceiling of AT&T Stadium are falling. The Cowboys are falling to pieces. It is perfect. It makes perfect sense. This is just what we thought would be happening. Who's going to be coaching the Cowboys next year? I mean, I think we all know that Mike McCarthy's on his way out. Who do you think is going to be taking that spot
Yeah.
in
I think
2025?
if you had competent ownership, I think the guy that makes the most sense because you have, in my opinion, we've debated it. In my opinion, you have pieces on the roster you can build around. I think Mike Vrabel could get it fixed most quickly. The problem is Mike Vrabel is not going to come coach Dallas if Jerry's going to have his hands in everything, doing everything. So I literally think that there would have to be structure in the contract where Jerry would basically be removed or not removed, but have to sit back on certain things.
Yeah, I don't know
With
if
that
Mike
said,
Vrabel will put up with that type of
with that
ownership.
said, I don't, I think he would do the best. I don't think that that's what we see because I don't think Jerry will give up that power. I think it becomes more of a drawn out process. I highly doubt that they like are first announced hire. I bet they're one of the ones that drags on and on. You get a bunch of interviews, and I bet they end up with either a younger defensive mind kind of out of left field, or they end up with like a Dan Lanning or something like that from the college ranks. I could see him like Dan Lanning from college, or maybe like a Edro Evero, DC from the Panthers, a younger name that was talked about a little bit last cycle that has done some good things. Like maybe somebody that isn't like first thought of, but would be willing to take their first job and come in for the Cowboys.
I was thinking Bobby Slowick, go to the opposite conference, maybe get out of the Texans organization while he's hot before they have to pay CJ. Um,
Yeah, I
Young
think he'll be
offensive
one of
guy
the. I
going
think
up.
he'll be one of the hot names, but I think a guy like that is going to have a little bit more of a pick. Like, I don't know if Dallas is
Right.
really where you want to go. Like, I mean, Dak's. You do get a good quarterback there. Like, Dak's not a. He's a solid quarterback to work with, but I don't know. I feel like there's going to be better options. Like, Ben Johnson. He's literally said he's waiting to take his pick. He's going to go wherever he wants because he can. Like, he can be choosy because he's pretty much going to get whatever job that comes open. He can be like, "Hey, I want that job," and they'll be like, "Yes, sure, please. Like,
Yeah.
we'll hire you right now."
Sunday Night Football. Chargers defeat the Bengals 34-27. This was a QB show. Herbert and Burrow are both absolutely disgusting at what they do. Burrow, the last 3 weeks, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. Total on the year, 27 touchdowns, 4 picks. You can see, I feel like the camera is loving showing Joe Burrow on the sideline from the week to week. You can see like he's almost like aging and getting depressed throughout this season. Like he's playing so well, and it's just it doesn't really matter what him and Jamar do. The Cincinnati Bengals defense, it's pretty bad. They can't
Yeah.
stop anyone. If I've pretty much figured out the Bengals. If you can't score offensively, the Bengals will beat you. Because they can put up points. If you can score, the Bengals will lose. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. They're great at throwing. It's just not a combination that works well against solid teams. If the Bengals have a couple 3-and-out drives, like that's it the entire game. Like the other
Hmm.
team is going to win. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the ball. They can't stop the run. I mean, it's just a tough combination to consistently win football games on a back-to-back week.
Yeah, the defense is terrible, and the O line, their pass blocking's all right, but the run blocking, all run blocking metrics are terrible. I mean, Chase Brown, like rush yards before contact are terrible on the season. You can, talk about his vision, whatever, but there's no holes to run through for that line, and they're running it a lot, but just very inefficiently. Burrow's had to basically be Superman just to keep them in games. Obviously, having Chase and T healthy now is looking really, really nice for that offense, but up to 7 losses now. I mean,
I mean, I'm looking at their
they're,
W's: Panthers, Giants, Browns, Raiders. The only way they're getting wins is when they play inept offenses. If there is a team that can score points, like Cincinnati just can't win the game at this point.
I mean,
Um,
how many
yeah.
touchdowns would Burrow throw for if he got to play his own defense?
Oh, it would be he's 27-4 now. It might be like 39-1. I don't know. Like let's see here. What are the ceiling for the Chargers with the first year with Harbaugh? I mean, I think we all knew they would come in and immediately be better, but the Chargers haven't really beat anyone yet. They beat the Raiders, Panthers, Broncos, Saints, Browns, Titans, Bengals. I think this week coming up, they get the Ravens. They get their first real solid
Mhm.
team that they have the opportunity to get a W against. Their L's are against the Cards, the Chiefs, and the Steelers. When they play a good team, they tend to lose, and
Yeah.
they've been beating up on really poor teams throughout the season.
Mhm. Yeah, this next stretch, we're going to learn a lot about the Chargers. Uh, from what I've seen this year, surprisingly, they've actually been one of the more complete teams in the AFC. I actually think they can win pretty much most any way. The only thing that I think they lack a little bit is on the playmaking side. I'm still a little surprised they did not go out and try and add a wide receiver piece at the trade deadline. I feel like they may come to regret that a little bit, but they're absolutely happy to run the ball. You have Justin Herbert, you can sling it, and that defense has been really solid. This is the first game they gave up more than 20 points all season long.
Right.
The defense has been really, really impressive. So far they've been a pretty complete team, but again, they have not played the toughest schedule. I think they have been able to, take it to a lot of lesser opponents, and we're going to learn a lot these next few weeks.
All right. Thursday night, the Eagles defeat the Commanders 26-18. Commanders, good story. Jaden Daniels, QB of the future in DC. No question about it. 2024 is not going to be their year, though. Their defense is poop. It's crap. It's 29th rated defense. The Eagles rushed for 228 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. As good as the Commanders' story is, their defense cannot stop anyone on the run. It's not going to work out well moving forward. They might win a lot of games. They might score a lot of points, but this year is not the year that they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great year for the Commanders because they're going to get the experience. They're already ahead of schedule. I think, ideally for them, like they're probably going to be a wild card team, so they're probably, going to be playing on the road. Uh, I'm guessing that could end up being like, could be like an NFC West, like a Cardinals, maybe like a Falcons. Uh, it's tough because these are teams that like running the ball. I think if they caught a team like say the Buccaneers ended up somehow winning the NFC South, like if they caught a team that doesn't, isn't maybe necessarily known for running it, they might be able to hang with them a little bit more. But yeah, a team like with the Eagles, I mean Saquon just ran crazy on them. The run defense just isn't there yet for the Commanders, but I'm sure that's something they're going to be addressing in the draft because their clock has started now with Daniels on that rookie deal.
The Commanders and the Eagles do play again later in the season,
Mhm.
but do you think they kind of clinched this division with this win this week?
Yeah, the fact that they play one more time, especially because it'll be in Washington or in DC, uh, it's not over yet. Uh, but the fact that the Eagles now have they have AJ Brown healthy, they have Devontae Smith healthy. Like we see the numbers when their guys are healthy, they win. And as long as it stays that way, I think this is the Eagles division that they're playing some really good football. I know you've been kind of down on them a little bit, but uh, Jalen Hurts might not be the best quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he's a very good leader. And if Sirianni maybe isn't the best leader, that's okay because they can still look to Hurts. He makes it work, and they got it going in Philly.
Yeah, I really don't like Sirianni, but I mean, eventually, the Eagles roster is too good to deny that they are a good team.
Their pass defense is also so improved. Like
Yes, their Vic
I did not
Fangio
expect their
and their defense
secondary.
have put it together. Uh, they were showing some numbers this week.
Yeah,
Who was the cornerback they drafted early? Was it
Quinion
Quinyon Mitchell is having a
out
great
of
rookie
out of
season.
Toledo. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
been unbelievable. Yeah.
he might be year two, three, four going into that lockdown corner. And if they can get that,
Mhm.
then the Eagles are looking good. The Commanders have a bunch of easy games coming up though. They got the Cowboys
Yeah,
twice. They got the Titans, the Saints, the Falcons. I mean, the Commanders are going to win some games coming up
yeah.
here.
They're
But this is
absolutely a playoff team. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely a playoff team. But this is the Eagles to lose. If they run the tables,
Mhm.
this division is theirs. All right, let's go to the game of the week. Bills defeat the Chiefs, 30-21. The Bills do beat the Chiefs. Josh Allen can beat Mahomes. He's 4-1 in the regular season, but this rivalry isn't really about the regular season. It's about the playoffs. Uh, and that's where Mahomes and the Chiefs tend to do their damage against the Bills. Did this game result change your mind for either of these teams moving forward for you?
Not a ton. I thought Holmes has just looked bad to me this year. Uh, and eventually it's going to catch up to you. It could just be a thing where he just sucks in the regular season and then turns it on the playoffs. All of a sudden, looks normal again. That was kind of your theory at the beginning of the year, like him and Kelsey just aren't going to care. Uh,
It's not that
I
they
think
don't
that
care. It just as long as we get
yeah,
there, I don't think it really matters that
this
much.
this defense is still good though. This Bills rushing attack has been really solid with James Cook, Ray Davis mixing in. They've been pretty dynamic, and the Chiefs again just absolutely shut them down. Josh Allen got his a little bit running the ball, but um, uh, this Chiefs defense is really what's going to carry them. And if Mahomes ever figures it out, I don't really see anybody beating him in the playoffs.
Yeah. I will notice though, Mahomes hit 11 different receivers this game.
Mhm.
It's a lot, spreading the ball around everywhere. The Bills did have some players out. They had Coleman out, Kincaid out, and they were still able to put up, what was it, 30 points against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Um, this shoots Josh Allen right to the top of that MVP odds race.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a two-man race at this point.
I'm seeing, I
Best I
mean, you
could
got
throw.
Josh Allen at plus 150. You got Lamar right after him at plus 200. And then third is Goff at plus 600. I will say that the Bills and the Lions face off December 15th in Detroit. So that could be a good game for the MVP voting. If the Bills can go into Detroit and get a win, I think that'll lock it up on
Yeah.
December 15th.
I just I mean, Goff has had great numbers and he really has played well, but like I feel like there's too much around him almost. Like it seems like like his team's almost too good or his offensive weapons are almost too good for him to be like MVP, like most valuable player. Like Lamar, I mean, they do have Derrick Henry and he's been unbelievable. He might, win offensive player of the year, whatever. But like Lamar and what he does and some of the plays he makes, Josh Allen, what he does for the team and some of the plays he makes, like Jared Goff throws like a 5 yard swing pass and all of a sudden Gibbs is 50 yards downfield just zooming past people. Like Montgomery's running dudes over. Like Goff has been great this year, but I don't know if it screams MVP to me.
Yeah, I think also it's hard to overlook the losses that Baltimore is starting to stack up. Again, the defense
Yeah.
might not be his problem. But when you start
Yeah.
stacking up losses, it hurts your MVP case. And it's like, do we really
Because
want to give
I mean,
Lamar a third MVP when he hasn't really had playoff success? That plays into it
but
mentally.
MVP isn't necessarily a playoff
No,
award. Like
it's
that's
not a
the
playoff
thing.
award at all, but it's that definitely plays into the storyline of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's fair. The only thing, so like, why, if we're looking stats, like, why is Joe Burrow not considered up there ahead of Jared Goff then? Because his team is been a disaster, but he's out there putting up insane numbers still. Like,
Because I feel like
is it
MVP,
because wins and losses then?
MVP is it's normally best player on one of the best teams.
Okay.
Bengals are not one of the
But
best
is he
teams.
like, how many wins would the Bengals have if like Daniel Jones is quarterback? Because
Uh,
like
one,
probably
zero.
zero with that defense. Like,
Yeah,
uh, that's the thing. So
yeah,
like, if you're talking about bringing value to your team, I mean, I I get it that wins matter, and I absolutely think it's just Allen versus Lamar basically till the end of the year. But I think it's just two-man race.
All right, Seahawks defeat the 49ers 20-17. I really never saw this result coming. To be honest, I just think the 49ers defense isn't what we're used to it being. They have good players, but it seems like teams can break through that defense a lot easier than what they used to. Their special teams just isn't up to par. I mean, 5-5, it's kind of what they are. CMC is back. He's played 2 games, but no touchdowns, averaging 3.5 yards per carry. How worrisome is this for the 49ers? I mean, at this point, they're actually favorited to miss the playoffs. You would have to bet
Mhm.
minus money for them to miss the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the standings, it's going to be very difficult for two teams to come out of the NFC West right now.
Absolutely. I don't think it can
It's
happen.
going to be very, very difficult. So basically, you have to win that division, and you've got some other teams playing some great football. And San Francisco has just, when they're dinged up, they just aren't right. Ayuk out for the year. They didn't have Kittle for this game. It absolutely showed. McCaffrey doesn't quite look right yet. I'm not seeing the burst that I've seen in the past from him. That's not to say he can't get there. I mean, he's still putting up decent stats, but it doesn't quite look the same. I just, they're just off this year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious, what do you think Jawan Jennings makes contract wise?
Probably not enough for what he brings to the table for that team because that guy, third down, it's unbelievable how many times he'll just get the job done for them. Um,
2 year, $15 million deal he signed.
that's
That's
great.
Ayuk is on a 4 year, 120 and not playing. I mean, it is crazy what some of these
Yeah,
contracts end up being
I
versus
mean it's not far off. Like when the Eagles, when AJ Brown goes down, when they lose, like when they start just losing guys, the offense doesn't look right. And I mean, I think we're seeing a little bit of that with San Fran. I thought their defense actually played pretty decent in this game until that last drive. The Seattle was just able to march down and punch it in.
I really like JSN. I was not high on him this year, but that's a guy I want on fantasy moving forward. Getting a
Yeah,
ton of
especially
targets.
PPR. Yeah.
I looked up his contract too. He's getting paid absolutely nothing. 4 year,
KSN,
15. Yeah,
well, he's a rookie contract.
I know, but like it's I think when
He
you're
was
just like,
he was like a mid to late round. He was like picked with probably picked 17 in the draft. I mean, that's your rookie contract, man.
what year
I want to
was
say he was
JSN
drafted
drafted?
2 years ago. He was in the stretch where they went like it was him, Addison, uh, QJ. It was like four receivers went like all in a row in the
Yeah,
draft.
yeah. He's
It
gonna
was it was
be,
last year.
I mean, he looked really good yesterday. He's gonna be expensive when it is time to pay him.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, he's. I would imagine that Lockett probably is done by the time
because Lockett's
JSN's
in his what,
contract.
10th, 11th season? Yeah.
Yeah, by the time that contract comes up, you're probably going to be looking at, it's just kind of him and maybe DK if as long as DK is still there.
All right, so
So
NFC West, who's taking this division? Right now, the Cards are favored at minus 130. Pretty much everyone's in play.
yeah,
Who do you got?
based on how they've been playing lately, I'm going with the Cardinals. I don't. I think they've been playing some fantastic football, and they have a very doable schedule left. They have some wins available to them. They've already beaten San Fran once. Uh, I believe they still play the Seahawks twice. They do have to play the Vikings, but they still get the Panthers and the Patriots. Like I don't see how they're not getting to at least 10 wins, and they still want more 11 wins. It gets really hard for the other teams to catch them at 11 wins.
Yeah, just looking at the schedule, the Cardinals have the most division games remaining.
Mhm.
After that, I really don't see the 49ers or the Seahawks doing it. I see the Rams last 4 games, if they can beat the 49ers and they get Jets, Cards, Seahawks, uh, yeah, the Cardinals might do it this year. All right, let's get to Steelers defeating the Ravens 18-16. Lamar, 22-1 versus the NFC, 69-28 in his career in the NFL, 2-9 versus the Steelers and the Chiefs. Just can't beat them. 32% of Lamar's losses come against these two teams. Lamar went 16 of 33, 207, one touchdown, one pick, 4 rushes for 46 yards. I mean, I've looked it up. It's if you have Lamar throw 30 plus times, which he's done 6 times this year, they are 2-4. Their 2 wins that he did that were against Cincinnati. Derrick Henry, when he rushes for 15 times or more, they're 7-1. Less than that, they are 0-4. I mean,
I mean,
I know I get what you're gonna say.
like,
You're gonna say when they're down, they throw it, and
yeah, it is tied to
but
game scripts and stuff.
but to me, just stick to your script a little longer than what you're doing.
Yeah,
Stick to
and,
your
and that
script
that's valid.
into the
That's
third,
valid.
fourth quarter. I
Yeah,
don't want Lamar throwing 35 times. I
I
don't
just
want Henry with 13 attempts. If you're down 10 points in the third quarter, still run Henry. Still like
yeah,
just I
I,
don't
I I don't disagree. I do think some of the stats is game script dependent, but like bottom line, the Ravens had the ball for 23 and a half minutes in this game. The Steelers held the ball the entire game, basically. The Ravens ran 20 less plays than the Steelers in this game. The Ravens still managed to have 12 penalties in this game. Like, they just shot themselves in the foot and they never get the ball in their players' hands because they were basically just on defense the whole time.
I feel like they shoot themselves in the foot in these big games because they leave their script so early. It's like it's a panic. Like, oh, if we get down or we don't like how it's going, like we're gonna start to let Lamar play. I mean, I will say the Steelers make Lamar play like a pocket quarterback
Yep.
when they face him. They do a really good job.
Yep.
They don't
Only four
necessarily
attempts. Yeah.
they don't necessarily have to sack Lamar or pressure him, but when they stay in their pass rush lanes, he can't rush out of the lanes as well. They do a great job defending him, but I got to see the Ravens stick to their script a little better. I mean, it's very obvious that when these stats happen, they lose. So make sure that you can make these stats not happen, whatever it is you got to do. We talked about this last year. It's happening again. They pull off these dumb losses. I mean, the Steelers didn't score a touchdown. Come on. What are we doing here? We got to have Lamar throw the ball 25 times, have Henry run the ball 20 times. I mean, I don't get it. Yeah. All right, let's go to the Packers defeating the Bears 20-19. I love seeing the Bears lose. Caleb is
You have a lot of teams that you like seeing lose.
I like seeing the teams lose that are like star-studded, like we're supposed to be great. So what is that? The Bears, the Jets, the Cowboys, the big media teams that
Yeah, the big
yeah,
markets. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. Um,
Uh,
what do we got here? All right. So Caleb Williams has been very disappointing so far. I will say though, the Bears are 4-6, and if they make the field goal this week and there's no Hail Mary play against the Commanders, they're 6-4. So I think the
mhm.
record is a little off-putting, but Caleb really is not playing well. To me,
I
there's
agree.
what are you gonna
I
say?
agree with that, but also if they were 6-4, they would be like we'd be talking about how fraudulent of a 6-4 team they are.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like 4-6 is probably about right for this team and how they've played.
So I feel like there's a top tier class of quarterbacks in this league. Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow. I mean, you can
Mhm.
agree to disagree, but those are kind of the top four guys. Do you think at any point in Caleb's career, it could be 2 years down the line, could be 5 years down the line, do you think at any point in his career we will be talking about Caleb as that top tier quarterback in the league, that top three or four guys?
I don't want to give up on him early because I do think his offensive line is not good. Um, but so far, it's been a little rough for me. I think playing Chicago is tough. Like the weather is always crap. You're playing in a division now with the Lions being very good, the Vikings looking like they're going to be good for a bit now that they've got this whole defense thing figured out. The Packers have been playing well, so he's kind of set up in a position where it's going to be very, very tough to essentially get there. Um, right now, I would kind of lean no, but that doesn't mean that he can't be a very solid, very serviceable quarterback. I think there's some flaws in his game. You know, he was getting the ball out quicker this week. It looks like the offensive coordinator may have actually been an issue, which shocks basically no one. Um, I think this hire that Chicago ends up making is going to be very, very key for the next 5, 10 years of their franchise.
Yeah, I will say though, that top tier quarterback list that I said, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, all of those guys are in the AFC. So the one thing that I do think he has going for him is he's on the NFC side. Uh, and you got Goff and Love in your same division, but
Mhm.
uh, over the next 4 or 5 years, like if you want to get wins and stack them together, like the NFC is the side you do have to be on because Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Burrow, these guys got another five
I think,
to eight
yeah,
years playing out that AFC.
I
Uh,
think the NFC is the side to be on, but I just think they're in the wrong division. I mean, Goff's already paid, Love's already paid. Like those teams have paid their quarterbacks. They're in their window right now. Like it's going to be tough to like kind of put it together against those teams.
yeah, I mean, yeah,
You've also got Minnesota on. I mean, technically, they're on a rookie quarterback window right now. I mean, McCarthy's not playing this year, but this is part of that. Darnold's been very, very solid as a placeholder. If that defense stays very good, and McCarthy comes in smooth. I mean, it's just they're in a really tough spot because this division is really solid. Really, the window is for the NFC South. The window is for maybe the NFC West, although I mean they're kind of cannibalizing a little bit, but or the NFC East really. I mean, with Cowboys, Giants being a mess, the Commanders are really hitting a nice window right now.
yeah. So I think the Packers are a really solid team. I'm kind of going through the depth charts, seeing what they got, and what are they missing? Like, what's preventing the Packers from getting to a Super Bowl and winning this
Yeah,
year?
I think they need a little bit more consistency from Jordan Love. I think you'll see like quarter and a half stretches where he just kind of
He has a ton
is
of picks.
off.
I will say he throws a ton of
Like
picks, but
he'll be like cooking, they'll be up, and then all of a sudden he'll go like 2 for 7 with a pick over a stretch, and they'll kind of like let the other team sort of back in it. The other thing I want to point out, they're obviously this is very much, turnovers they'll fluctuate. Like they come and go, like it is what it is. They had 17. Their defense forced 17 turnovers in the first 6 games. They've only forced 2 in the last 4, and those were both in the same game. So 3 of the last 4 they didn't force any. Uh, I mean, obviously turnovers are very there's high variance in it, but still, like that is definitely an issue that they had last year, forcing turnovers. The start of this year, it was kind of a big deal because it looked like they had kind of gotten that fixed, and now they're back to basically just not being able to get the ball off other teams, especially when you're playing a team like Chicago. You would think you'd be able to, maybe pile up a couple turnovers. But
Yeah,
I
takeaways.
think that's something
They're
they need to kind of get back on that if they're going to compete with the best teams in the NFC.
Yeah, takeaways. They're tied fourth now. Points allowed. They're ninth. I like Jordan Love. I like their QB. They have a top 10 O line. They got young weapons everywhere. You would say that their coach, their GM, their management solid. One weakness I'm seeing, special teams is ranked 28th. Little bit of an issue there, but really, I feel like the only problem with the Packers is the Lions. Like,
Yeah, the Lions are playing some good football for sure.
all right, let's get to the last game we're going to talk about here. Colts defeat the Jets 28-27. Last week, rumors started spreading that the Jets may not want Aaron Rodgers there next year. So what happened? Aaron Rodgers fired Joe Douglas. This is what happens when you give the keys of the car to a child who doesn't know how to drive. You don't blame the child for crashing the car. You blame the person who gave the child the keys. Aaron Rodgers is a child. He's impulsive. He makes poor decisions. Woody Johnson gave the keys. He crashed the car. Instead of taking the keys away, what's Woody Johnson going to do? He's going to buy him a new car and say, here are the keys, and let him go crash it again. The Jets just need to shut it down. It's terrible. I mean, I don't know what they're playing for the rest of the season. Rodgers 22 of 29, 184 yards. I got a question for you. When do you think the last time was Aaron Rodgers threw 300 plus yards in a game?
It wasn't with the Jets.
Nope.
Uh, now 2 year. I mean, 2021 at some point. I don't even know.
Yeah, week 14 versus Chicago, 2021. That was the last time he threw for 300 yards. That's been 3 years.
Really.
It's been 3 years since he's thrown for 300 plus yards in a single game. All right, let's move to Anthony Richardson real quick. He's back in, had a decent game, 20 of 30, 272, touchdown, no picks, 10 rushes for 2 touchdowns, 66 completion percentage. Where are you on Anthony Richardson? You in, you out, you need to see more. What do you think?
I still think he's going to be very boomer bust. Like he's not a complete polished product. This game was fantastic. He didn't turn the ball over, and he threw for completion percentage over 65%. That's if you are getting over 65% completion from him and not turning the ball over, that is all you can ask for because he's going to be making plays with his feet. He's going to be, hitting some crazy throws, some bombs, like that. I mean, if that's what you can get out of him week in, week out, you're getting a very, very good quarterback because he's going to make, those big splash plays, those Superman plays that you'll see from like a Josh Allen. If
Exactly,
you can
Josh
get that
Allen.
kind of
Yeah, yeah,
consistency from him, I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. This is what
yeah.
the Colts need to be doing. Like, you don't need to be messing around with Joe Flacco. Like, just let the guy get reps, let him learn. If the bad comes out, then the bad comes out. Like, you got to take some of that with it. Let him learn and see what you have.
Yeah, I looked back at Josh Allen's numbers when he first came into the league. 2018, his touchdown interception ratio 10 to 12, passer rating 67. 2019, a little better, touchdown interception ratio of 20 to 9 and a rating of 85. It wasn't until year 3 that Allen really popped. But like if you look at Anthony Richardson's numbers now, last year, this year, they're pretty bad. I mean, they're not great, let's be honest. But they're very similar to Josh Allen. We see that special. He can be special. We just need some more consistency. So
The
this year
the
is going to be
ceiling,
a
yeah,
little bit of a wash for me. Like I don't really care what the rest of the numbers say, but next year, yeah, year 3, we need to see a serious jump in touchdown interception ratio and passer rating and completion percentage. Otherwise, I think it's washed.
Yeah, I think the completion percentage is the one that I think the Colts fans should be the most excited about. In that case, like if he's hitting if he's hitting those numbers, I mean, he's had so many games where he's been sub 50%. Like if you're getting over 60%, like you got to be happy about that. That
Yep.
means he's, making the throws that NFL quarterbacks are supposed to make.
Right. All right, let's get to our power rankings. At 10, we got the Cardinals, 6-4. No touchdowns allowed in 3 straight home games, 4-game win streak. They lead the NFC West. At 9, we got the Vikings, 8-2. They're sneakily winning a ton of games. Quiet, lead the NFL in takeaways. At 8, Chargers, 7-3. First time allowing 20 plus points this year. They lead the league in not turning the ball over. At 7, we got the Packers, 7-3. Good everywhere. They take shots. Love has 11 interceptions in 8 games. So that is the only thing that is worrisome there. At 6, we got the Ravens, 7-4. Defense is bad. If you hold Henry to minimal runs, then you've got a chance to beat the Ravens. They've lost way too many games for how good of a team they are. At 5, we got the Steelers. They just beat them, so they're going to go ahead of them, 8-2. Russ is 4-0 as a starter. 5-0 against teams with a winning record. And they're 2-0 when they don't score a touchdown. So if they don't score a touchdown, they're winning games. At 4, we got the Eagles, 8-2. 7-0 when AJ Brown plays. Defense under Vic Fangio is playing well and coming along. At 3, we got the Bills, 9-2. They just beat the Chiefs, down a few starters. The Bills may deserve a higher spot than this, but they're staying there until the Chiefs start dropping more than one game. At 2, we got the Lions. They're 9-1. 3 wins by 38 plus points. The rest of the league has 0. 4 games with more touchdowns than incompletions. Honestly, the Lions should be 1, but the Chiefs, with 1 loss and back-to-back Super Bowl champions, they're still in 1. 1 Chiefs, 9-1. Still the best third down percentage in the league. I can't take them out of that 1 spot until I start seeing them drop another game or 2. I still think they're the best team in the league. All right, let's get to some talking points here. Last week, we were talking a little bit about offensive players we would not want to tackle. I went through 5 of them here. Give me your list of offensive players. They have the ball. You're playing linebacker. You're like, shit, I do not want to tackle that guy. Who's coming at you?
I think number one's pretty obvious. King Henry. Got no interest in standing in front of Derrick Henry running at me. Number 2, we're going Darnell Washington, tight end, Pittsburgh Steelers, absolute tank.
Yes.
Number 3, we're going another tight end, George Kittle. He runs entirely too angry for me to have any interest in
Yep.
tackling that. Speaking of running angry, number 4, Isaiah Pacheco. He looks like he's literally
Okay.
trying to injure you as you are hitting him. And then number 5, little underrated, but similar kind of style to Pacheco. David Montgomery. He can dish out some pain as well.
Yes.
So that's my top 5.
Wow, very similar list here. I like what you went with. At 5, I went with Montgomery, 5'10", 225, but that dude is a rock. I would not want to take a hit from him. At 4, I mentioned this last week, George Kittle. I, I don't, yeah, runs way too crazy. I don't even know what you would do with him. At 3, I got DK Metcalf, 6'4",
Yeah,
236. I don't
saw
know
that.
what I would do with him. At 2, you put him at 1. I got Derrick Henry. At 1, I got Darnell Washington, 6'7", 265, runs a 4.6 40. This, I mean, like, if he catches the ball, it's an auto 8 to 10 yard run or catch because you just can't bring him down. It's insane. I love Darnell Washington. All right, let's get to buy or sell. Gonna give you some teams here. Will they make the playoffs? You're gonna tell me if you're buying or selling. Dolphins will make the playoffs.
Sell.
Broncos will make the playoffs.
I'm buying it.
Colts will make the playoffs.
Selling that.
Cards will make the playoffs.
Buying it, and they win the division.
So then this one's easy for you to answer. 49ers will make the playoffs.
No, sir. Selling that. Not this year.
All right. I took a look at our playoff preseason predictions. I will put it up in a video so everyone can see it. But man, were we right on some things and wrong on a lot of things? On the AFC side, we both have the Jags in there. That's not going to happen.
Yes.
You have
Fantastic.
you have the Raiders in there. I have the Jets in there. Uh, I will say we both have Chiefs up top. We both got
Yeah.
Ravens in there, Bills in there. All right, let's start on the AFC side. Let's go 1 through 7 right now. Seeding for the playoffs. Who do you think is going to be 1 through 7 in the AFC?
Currently this year, based
Yeah,
on
yes, based
okay.
on what we got going right now.
So right now I still think the Chiefs win it over the Bills. I'll go Chiefs 1, Bills 2. I do think the Steelers end up winning that division at this point. I will give them the 3, Texans the 4. Then following that up with the 5, I've got the Chargers. Then I've got the Ravens. And then lastly, I do have the Broncos sneaking in as the 7.
All right, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens still end up taking this division. So I got the Ravens in that 3 spot. I got the Steelers in that 5 spot. Uh, I got the Dolphins sneaking in there at 7. I think they're going to
Wow.
finish real hot.
Mhm.
I don't have the Broncos in there.
Wow.
All right,
Okay.
let's get over to the NFC side. What you got?
So I got the Lions up top at 1, followed by the Eagles. Then I'm going to go Cardinals at 3, and I will take the Falcons sneaking out the NFC South. At 5, I actually have the Packers coming through there. Then I go Commanders, and then Vikings actually take the 7.
Yeah, we are the same. Not same order, but we have all the same teams making the playoffs there. The NFC seems a little more obvious. I just have the Cards and the Falcons flipped, but yeah, rest of them are pretty similar. All right, let's go to some of the worst teams in the NFL. They will not be worrying about their playoff seeding. Right now, Jags have the number 1 draft pick, followed by Titans, Browns, Giants, and Vegas. So what we are going to do is, if these teams were in the spot currently, what would they do? What should they do? Jags with the number 1 overall pick. What should they do?
They've already paid their quarterback. You're not taking quarterback. I think trade down is an option. I also think taking Travis Hunter is your option here. I think it'd be a welcome selection. Obviously, going to be a big name. Seems like he's the favorite for the Heisman right now.
Playing on the
Uh,
cornerback side for the
I
defense?
think they do whatever they want with him. Play both sides. I don't care. Um, use him however you want. He's a very good football player. You can play him either spot, and yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense for Jacksonville, especially because that is a franchise that needs a little bit of excitement because I mean it's been a very disappointing year for them.
Yeah, I don't think the NFL wants Travis Hunter going to Jacksonville. I can promise you that. But no, I think they trade out. They have a ton of weapons still. On that offensive side, they paid their quarterback. I think you trade out and just start trying to get some pieces on that defense because that defense is absolutely terrible. All right, Titans have the second pick. What do they do?
I think they're going quarterback. I
They
think
have
uh,
to.
I
Yep.
think Shador Sanders is their pick. This is assuming nobody jumps them, moving up with the Jags to maybe grab a quarterback.
Yeah, I think they grab quarterback. I would hate to see Shador go into Nashville, but if that's where the Titans are, that could be it. At 3, we got the Browns. They got a lot of needs.
Yeah,
What could they do?
I think O line is most pressing, but
Yep.
I think the Browns are in the best trade bait spot for a quarterback. So say Jags go Travis Hunter, say Titans go Shador Sanders. There's a clear Cam Ward dangling out there, and he's probably not falling past the Giants at 4. So if you're a team like Vegas that wants to jump up and grab a quarterback, that's your spot to make your move if you want to go get Cam Ward. So I,
Well,
I really think Cleveland's in a great spot to move down and maybe collect some more picks because essentially Cleveland is just trying to wait out the Deshaun Watson deal. All you're trying to do is put pieces on the team, fill out your
yep.
lines, build your offensive
Unfortunately,
line,
that's the
build your
case.
defensive
Yep.
line, wait for the Watson contract to end, and that's when you can grab your quarterback.
Yep. All right, Giants at 4.
I have Cam Ward going to them. I think it would be a fantastic spot. As a Miami fan, I would love for him to end up there. I think him getting to work with neighbors. I think Wandale is a great slot guy to have. Hopefully they bring in a good coach. If Dayball's gone, if not, Dayball is a solid, coach. I think they could do some things. So
I don't
I
think
think
that's
it'd be a nice spot.
I do not think that's the worst landing spot for a rookie quarterback coming in.
I don't think it's awful. I mean, you have a solid left tackle. Like some more offensive line help wouldn't be terrible. But I mean, you have a good defense currently. I really don't think it's a horrible spot, other than it is a New York market. But uh, from what I've seen, I mean, Cam Ward, that's not going to bother him.
Yeah. All right. Fifth, we got Vegas.
I think Vegas would be the team that would maybe be attempting to jump the Giants to grab the quarterback at 3. If the two quarterbacks are gone, I could still see them going with another quarterback, but they also have other needs. I think there's really good options at corner, at D line, pass rush. If Travis Hunter's still here, I think that is like absolutely the kind of pick that the Raiders would make for a corner there. Um, I feel like that would be the kind of flashy pick that they love to go for.
I mean, I know that Vegas wants Shador. They got Brady, who's a
Yeah,
part owner now, and Brady works with Shador on a regular basis. So they're definitely going to want to get him. If they don't get him, I could see them just like selling everything on their team and getting a million picks and just a complete reboot. Under Pierce.
they should. I mean, they could use a number one, like a Will Johnson or Travis Hunter if he's there. Like they could absolutely use that on that team.
All
So
right, let's get into
they
fantasy
got
football.
options though.
Yeah, let's get into fantasy football. Week 11 booms. Got a lot of them.
Yeah,
Who boomed?
it was a pretty big week for scoring.
Well, I'll
Uh,
start it off. I want to read one. I mean,
Go
Taysom
for it.
Hill. Taysom Hill
Yeah,
is obviously the big boom this week. He was on my bench. Probably on a lot of
nice.
benches. Probably on
Yeah,
probably dropped 41 points on more benches than not. I like reading his stat lines though, because like there's just a million numbers. Taysom Hill, 1 for 2 completion, 18 yards, 1 interception, 7 carries, 138 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 for 10 reception, 50 yards, 1 fumble. I mean, when you're on the sleeper app, like his his stat line is like four
just
lines
keeps
long.
going.
Yeah. All right. That's my one that I wanted to read. You can give some off here.
So I'm gonna add a little thing. So I had Kittle this week. He obviously was popped up on the injury report. I was like, to be smart, I'll just go ahead and pick up Taysom uh, in Saturday waivers. Like Saturday waivers, nothing's ever going on. So I throw my little $1 bid in for Taysom on Saturday just to have the safety piece there. Ended up getting sniped. Another guy put $1 in. It was higher than me on priority. I guess he had Kincaid or something like that. But basically, was going to end up needing a tight end. And so by priority ranking, I ended up losing out on 40 something points. That would have been quite nice. But I'm gonna shout out Saquon playing Washington this week. Huge game on Thursday night. I mean, he's absolutely in that conversation for Offensive Player of the Year. He's having a great season. Amon Ra, finally big boom game, big ceiling game for him against Jacksonville. I feel like we've talked about wide receivers against Jacksonville all year long. I'll also shout out Jared Goff there, 4 touchdowns, 400 yards, like crazy game for him. Cup and Puka both got theirs against New England this week.
Yeah, I
Both
was
100
there. I was
yards,
there seeing that
uh,
one.
touchdowns for both. Cup got in there twice. Bo Nix, got to shout him out. He's been playing unbelievable lately.
Yep.
An absolute blowout of the Falcons. Falcons just were out of that game early and then just kept turning it over and just being awful on offense and never got back in it. And then I'm also going to shout out Joe Mixon because 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's an awesome game against a very bad Dallas Cowboys team.
Yeah, I will throw in Brock Bowers, 31 points. He's leading the league, I
Yeah,
guess, in targets and receptions, I want to say.
yeah.
Could be
He
off, but I believe he's
he
leading
could
the league in
he could
targets.
break Puka's rookie record, I believe,
Yeah.
for catches.
We got Chris Boswell, 24 points, and then Texas D, 19 points. Any defense that's playing the Cowboys right now is on our boom list. All right, week 11 bust list. Who you got?
Terry McLaurin. We were talking about Quinyon Mitchell a little bit earlier, but the secondary from Philly has been much improved, and McLaurin had basically nothing against the Eagles this week. Jonathan Taylor against a Jets team that's been a mess just could not really get anything going, and Anthony Richardson stole 2 rushing touchdowns from him. So tough week for him. Garrett Wilson got nothing going against the Colts in that game as well. The Jets are just a mess. Aaron Jones did not have a good game at all against Tennessee. He had like 4 points. It was just a bad week. Travis Kelsey only caught 2 balls against Buffalo. It's a team that he's kind of killed in the past, and Could not get anything going against them. And then Debo Samuel, you would think it's about time for him to get going in San Fran. No Ayuk. Seattle's defense, not that great. He had like 4 catches for 20 yards. Just not a good game for him.
Yeah. Falcons D -5 points. Denver went all over them. Tucker Craft off a bye, 0 points. Very disappointing. I just traded for him and started him. I started Tucker Craft over Taysom Hill. So a 41 point differential there.
Yeah.
Luckily I still won, but still, God, that's bad. Kyle Pitts, he's either on the boom list or on the bust list. This week he is on the bust list. Ricky Pearsall, 0 points. I love this one here. Jonathan Mingo, you are a 4th round pick worthy player who had 0 points, 0 for 4. Last one I'll
Panthers,
throw on.
thank you, Jerry.
Last one I'll throw on here is Mike Gesicki, 0 points. Even though the Bengals put up a ton of points. All right, week 12 starts. Who we got? We do have a bunch of teams on bye this week. 6 teams: Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Jags, Saints, Jets.
Just to throw this out there, Gasecki is essentially unstartable when T. Higgins is healthy. So if anybody was wondering about that.
mm,
But anyway, carry on.
yeah, week 12 starts. Got some buys: Falcons, Bills, Bengals, Jags, Saints, Jets. Who we starting? Who's a good start this week?
I think I shouted him out last week actually, and yeah, I did. And he got in the end zone. But QJ, Quentin Johnson, and also Lad McConkey playing the Ravens this week.
Yeah,
Smash spot for them.
I will say
Should be a
Quentin
game.
Johnston, 12.8 fantasy points last week on 2 for 8. Like
Yeah,
he really should have had a 20
it,
plus game, and
yeah.
I like him
But he
again
got in
this
the
week
end zone.
too.
He still
Yeah,
got you the points, so I'm gonna
right.
parade that one a little bit.
Yep.
Um, Next up, Tyron Tracy. It's kind of a little fringe, like you're probably starting him anyway. But anyway, he's playing great matchup against Tampa Bay. Obviously, they've announced a quarterback change there. Um, but I wouldn't be too scared. Tampa Bay's defense has been so bad, and the Giants' offense can't get much worse anyway, and he's still been solid. So love the matchup there. Then lastly, like he's coming off injury, coming off IR. It sounds like he's going to play. If Isaiah Pacheco is active, you start him. He's playing the Panthers. Don't overthink it. Put him in your lineup. Even if he plays half the snaps, it's the Panthers. He might drop 30.
All right. Yeah. Neighbors off a bye versus Tampa Bay. Like you said, that defense is not great. If I'm Tommy DeVito, I'm throwing Neighbors the ball 15 times. Like, what else am I gonna do? Like, I want someone that's gonna catch them. Austin Eckler is playing Dallas. Dallas cannot stop the run, so get Eckler in the lineup. Bo Nix versus Las Vegas. Las Vegas defense is pretty trash, and Bo Nix has been putting it together, rushing it. Good touchdown interception ratio. Lastly, I like the Miami squad: Tua, Waddle, Tyreek. I watched the New England game this past week. The Rams are able to they got 2 or 3 big plays off New England, just easy touchdowns. Cup had like a 60-yarder to start the second half. I like Waddle and Tyreek doing well this week. Let's move over to the sit side. Week 12 sits. Who you got?
This again might be the second week in a row. It is, and he busted last week. Tony Pollard. He's playing a very stout Houston run defense this week. Houston basically, I mean, Dallas doesn't have much of a run offense, but they shut them down this week. Pollard did not have a great week last week, and I think that continues in this tough matchup. Next, we're going Jacoby Myers. He's been the wide receiver one. He's gotten a decent bit of work, but playing the Broncos, it's going to be rough. Broncos' pass defense has been really, really solid, and they've been shutting down wide receiver ones. And then lastly, I went with wide receivers in this game, but J.K. Dobbins against the Ravens, they have stopped the run pretty well. He did get in the end zone twice this week, but basically Herbert has not been throwing the ball to the running backs at all. They've had like one catch, I think, in the last 2 games combined from the running back position. So if this is a game where the Chargers are down and forced to throw a bit to keep up, it's going to be hard for Dobbins to get a ton of points.
All right, I got Jonathan Taylor versus Detroit. I think Detroit is going to go up in this game very quickly, and that is going to eliminate a lot of the running that the Colts will be able to do in the second half. Najee Harris versus Cleveland. I think he is a sit this week. I'm seeing a very low scoring game. It could be one of those 15, 20 carries, 80 yards, not many points for Najee. Ramondre Stevenson versus Miami. Same thing. Could see a bunch of carries and not many points. And then Justin Tucker versus Chargers. Tucker is just having a rough year. Almost got the yips, some want to say. Maybe he does fine, maybe he doesn't, but we can keep him on the bench for this week. All right, let's get into the gambling. We will take you through the lines. On Thursday, we got Steelers at Browns. Browns getting 3.5. Sunday, 1 p.m. slate. Get Chiefs at Panthers. Panthers getting 11. Lions at Colts. Colts +7. Patriots at Dolphins. Dolphins -7. Bucks at Giants. Giants +5.5. Vikings at Bears. Bears +3.5. Titans at Texans. Texans -8.5. Cowboys at Commanders. Commanders -10.5. 4 p.m. window. We get Broncos at Raiders. Raiders +5.5. 49ers at Packers. Packers -2.5. Cards at Seahawks. Seahawks -1. Late night, we got Eagles at Rams. Rams +2.5 on Monday. Ravens at Chargers. Chargers +3. Last week I went 1-2. And Andrew went 2-1. We both hit the Lions on that big number. Overall, I am now 14-20, and Andrew is 18-14-1. What are our bets of the week? Actually, you know what? What is our must-win game of the week, first off?
I'm going Dolphins at home against the Patriots. You cannot slip up against division rival that's been playing terrible. Miami needs to start stacking some wins, and they have to win that game this week.
Yeah, that one was up there for me. I got the Rams at home playing the Eagles. This is a non-division, or sorry, a not a division game for them, so they really got to take this one if they have any hopes of keeping their season alive. All right, bets of the week. What do you got?
I'm gonna start with the Broncos -5.5 at the Raiders. The Broncos have been playing some awesome football lately. This defense is no joke. The Raiders are a bit of a mess. I think the Raiders are going to struggle to throw the ball much against the Broncos. And with how the Broncos have been playing lately, I just see them covering that quite easily. Next, for yet another week, we're going to take the Lions. 7 points is not enough at the Colts. It's just not. The Lions' run defense is very, very solid. If the Colts want to go run on first and second down, a lot of weeks that'll leave them in 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Against the Lions, that might leave them in 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7. I do not want Anthony Richardson in 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7. Give me the Lions and those given the points. And then lastly, I'll take the Cardinals +1 at Seattle. I think the Cardinals have been playing some great football. Seattle, big emotional win against a divisional opponent. Got to carry it over into this week. I think Seattle has struggled a little bit in containing quarterback run. I think Kyler runs a little wild this week, and Arizona wins that football game.
All right, I got the Dolphins -7. I went to the Patriots game last week, and it just looked like too many easy plays happened for the Rams. And the Miami Dolphins they got playmakers everywhere. I think they're going to get a bunch of easy scores. I think they cover that 7. I'm taking Lions as well, -7. If the Lions get up early in this game and the Colts are forced to throw the ball, this could be a absolute nightmare for the Colts. Another blowout like they just had with the Jaguars. Lastly, give me the Eagles -2.5. The Rams are hot. AJ Brown's playing. I think they win by a field goal here. I don't think the Rams are all that. I think the Eagles just have a much better roster than what the Rams have. So those are our bets of the week. Lock them in. All right. Good luck to Andrew this week playing at home. RSM is at Sea Island, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully the
Yep.
wind's a little less than what you had out in Bermuda.
Thursday, I think they're calling for 20 to 25 gusts up to 40.
Perfect.
Oh, also, it's going to be like 50 degrees. Super dope.
So we'll tell Jeff to put a couple pairs of rain gear in the bag.
Yes.
All right. Have a great week of fantasy football. Lots of teams on buys. Any last words?
No, just Panthers are going to roll the Chiefs.
All right. Appreciate y'all listening. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at screenplay_podcast. And we will be back next week. Appreciate y'all.